Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is October 1st, 2024. Tuesday morning. It is 20 after 4. So, what are we talking about today? So, today I thought we'd talk about just good old advice, common sense when it comes to starting a business, in a relationship, working on a project, learning new things. There's so many things that are pivoting all the time, right? And the biggest thing I hear from people that usually end up giving up is it's too hard. And life is hard. But how can we make it more manageable? And how can we break it down so that we can accomplish what we want out of life? Stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back. My name is Eric, and yes, this is the weekday show, Monday through Friday. Today's Tuesday, the October 1st, and it's available on podcast as well, along with our educational and our personal development. The weekday kind of does a crossover. It does some personal development in it, but it's more business sense and the business side of it. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Is why is it that there's such a small percentage that succeed at getting a business off the ground and flourishing? You can take two people and you offer them the same advice. How is it that one goes and the other one doesn't? And to sum it up really quick, my grandfather used to tell me when I was younger, he'd say, Eric, look, if you're not willing to give it your all, why give it at all? And that's very true with business. If you're not willing to throw everything in, throw your cards in, show your hand, then you're not willing to put the time in to accomplish it. And a lot of times it's not that you don't want to put the time in, you don't know where to put the time in. And that goes to part 2, is you never stop learning. Learn something new every day. It will make you feel good, it'll make you feel empowered that you know more, right? And the good Lord always said, use it or lose it. And a lot of people stop learning. I'm a firm believer you're never too old to learn. And I can now understand what my grandfather said. As the older he got, the more he realized he didn't know. And that's, in my case, so true. That, I thought I knew everything in my 20s and 30s, right? But as I got older, I started realizing, you know what? You don't know jack shit. You know what? But you can learn it if that's what your desire is. And I wasn't, a straight A student in high school. I mean, there were times you could play checkers, red and black, on my report card. And we didn't have participation trophies. You had winners and losers. And it made us losers more empowered to want to become winners. So we had to apply ourselves harder. We had to learn more, do it better. If you don't have any winners and losers in life, what is the incentive of trying to get better? And that's my biggest fear for the next generations, is they aren't empowered to want to become a winner because they're already classified as a non-loser. Nobody loses anymore. in life, most things are going to be hard. All right? That's a given. And we try to learn ways to get around how to make our life easier. It's not how to make our life harder. We're trying to make our life easier, right? And that requires a lot of effort on your part. Going back to what my grandfather said, if you're not willing to give it 110%, why even do it at all? And that's just it. Some people, it's not their cup of tea, but they're being told that they should. And the thing is when people are told they should and they have no interest, what would be the normal outcome? Yeah. It's not going to go anywhere, and it's going to be deemed a failure. And it's deemed a failure because the person wasn't 110% invested in wanting to make that business successful, right? He had no interest in it. You know, maybe he wanted to be on the U.S. gymnastic team. I don't know. But that's what I'm getting at is that's what makes the world so great. And you guys that are in the younger generation so great. Is that we're all different. We have different needs. You know, we have our basic, food, shelter, clothing, but above that, I'm seeing so many families that are split up, being raised in a one-parent home, whether it be by the father or the mother. And a lot of times they felt that it was too hard to be in that relationship. Now, I'm not saying that every relationship is going to be a bed of roses either. That's the other thing. Again, it goes back to life is hard. And you have to work through things. If you're not invested in that relationship, this is what you should be thinking about before kids. If you're not 110% invested in that relationship to make it want to work, that this is the person, why waste their time and your time? If you have boyfriend, girlfriends, right, in high school, I did, girlfriends. And I think the longest one lasted maybe 2 weeks. But I was honest with them and myself in that I wasn't looking for a long-term relationship as far as getting together, but I was looking for a long-term friendship. And once we went to friendship, a lot of my best friends were girls. And it made my life easier because I wasn't trying to impress anybody. I could be myself with them. And they could be themselves with me. They weren't trying to impress me. Just by being themselves impressed me. And that's why I hung around with them and the guys that were in my life as well in high school. But I've seen a lot of people get together in a relationship because they feel like they need to be in a relationship. And it becomes toxic. Now, if you have a toxic relationship, then you need to figure it out. It doesn't look like you were 110% invested in this relationship. Or maybe you were, but the other party wasn't. See, when you start doing things with people, the people that play their parts have to be invested as well, right? And that's business. If you are a partner in a business, the other person or persons that are partners with you in that business have to be 110% invested in wanting that business to succeed. They do, or it won't happen. And I've seen, where you get into business with partners and then you have one carrying most of the load and the other one, not taking it real seriously and then wanting the dividends check at the end of the year. That's toxic. Because there's resentment. And there should be resentment. Why am I giving my 110% when my partner is only giving 50%? And why should he receive the same amount as me when I'm doing the bulk of the work? And the only other option would be for me to back off, try to push him to do more, but he may not be willing to. Well, you picked the wrong partner. He can still be your best friend, but not in business. Business is just like a relationship. You want to be careful of who you get in bed with. And we all know about reputations, right? And that is, my grandmother was always on me. Eric, you are judged by the people you hang out with. And if you're hanging out with the wrong crowd, most people are going to generalize and think of you as part of that group. Does that make any sense? Because if you start getting in business with shady partners that are willing to do anything, and there's a difference between giving 110% and going and breaking the law or doing something that is not right. Ethically, morally, legally, you got to cover all spectrums. Because if you're not doing it ethically, morally, and legally right, you're not doing it the right way. And you're just wasting your time in that endeavor of trying to give 110%, right? Because you're looking for shortcuts. You are. If you have no morals and you don't care about things being legally, it'd be like somebody starting a business and then a sneaker business and then running drugs in their sneakers. And the big payday is the drugs. It's not the sneakers, right? But the business is flourishing because they found a means to get their drugs in from Mexico to here. And I don't know. I'm just making this up. So I don't know. This is not any real life thing. But I'm just giving it as an example. Yes, the business has become successful financially. But to what end? It's not ethical. It's not morally right. And it's not legally right. So can we deem that a successful business? Not in my vote. Because that person is always going to be looking over their back. With me, I've said this before on my videos, I am a firm believer in God. I'm not a Bible pumping, pushing, to each their own, higher power, alien, whoever. But he is my guiding light. And I know that he sees everything. I can bullshit people in my life, but I can't bullshit him. And I can even make myself believe my own lies, but not him. Honestly, you must have seen people like this if you're having age to you, of people that tell the lie so many times they start to believe their own lie. Until somebody finally catches up with them, right? And that's one thing I learned when I was younger. My grandfather, I was raised by my grandparents. Both my parents had passed away by the time I was around 10 or 11 years old. My mom died of cancer when I was 9. My father had a heart attack in his 30s, when I was 10 going on 11, I think it was. I mean, we buried him on my birthday. But I learned from them, my grandparents, so much. I didn't have a good moral grounding, ethical grounding. And I sure in heck didn't believe in God. But my grandmother and my grandfather were stern believers in always tell the truth. The truth is your way out. Kind of like the truth is your salvation. If you're not proud of yourself or proud of what you've done, then why'd you do it? And my grandmother, I remember her sitting me down once, because when we came back from Oklahoma to New York, and my grandparents had already raised their daughter, my mom, and now they were not stuck, but they were now raising 4 of us. And my father had remarried, so my 2 twin sisters went with them after he sold the house in Oklahoma and flew up. Us 2 boys stayed with my grandparents. And my grandparents were very firm believers in if you tell one lie, then you got to tell another lie to cover that up, and another one to cover that up. And pretty quick, the lie has become so big that had you just admitted honesty in the beginning, you wouldn't even be in trouble, hardly at all. But now you've compounded it time after time after time. And I can tell you right now, with most people, if you tell them a lie and they find out about it, this includes partners, they will start to discount everything you've told them from that point back and from that point forward. How would you feel if someone lied to you about something? And the lie wasn't that big of a deal, but you're kind of shaking your head because you know better, right? I've known compulsive liars that wouldn't know the truth if they looked at it, in the face. So I'm going to start wrapping this up. But, when I hear people say life is hard, life has always been hard from the day man was created to now. And it's going to be hard going forward, right? And look at your body as a empty vessel, okay? Where you can store all the neat stuff that you want. And when you invest yourself into something 110%, you are more likely to succeed than someone that does not, right? Because you are, the second part, never stop learning. Learn something new every day. A lot of my family are big into reading books. Read another book and learn something more about that. YouTube videos. Watch some videos and learn different things about how things work. But when you're trying to have a successful anything in your life and you're willing to give it 110%, that means you're also willing to learn and grow. And you're stuffing that empty vessel with things that are positive things, right? Of what you've accomplished instead of your losses. And if you're doing it morally, ethically, and legally, you're there. And like I've told people, when it comes to starting a business and getting it successful, you have to have your own mantra, your own thing to march to. And for each of us, it's going to be different. And that's why I've said for the past year, when it comes to business, take what you can use from my advice to your application, your mantra, something that you really believe in, and that will make you want to give 110%. Because I feel that anything in life is achievable if you're willing to put in the effort. But if you're not 110% invested in it, why do it at all? You're wasting your time that you could be doing something that you are willing to, and you're wasting the time of people around you that are trying to help you get this, what have you, together. Relationship, business, it's every aspect of your life. And we do have winners and we do have losers. And that's not a bad thing. That's common sense. Because I know, when I played sports in high school, we didn't win every game. But we didn't lose every game either. And we were taught good sportsmanship when we won and when we lost. But the biggest motivator to getting better was losing. What could we do better as a team? How could we come together closer as a team and work to become a winner? Wanting to become a winner is not a bad thing, folks. It's common sense. Good sportsmanship is common sense. It's when you are a winner that you don't downtrod the people around you or other businesses. And I've seen that so often, that a business will get going and they think that the way to get ahead is by saying negative things about the other business. And the biggest thing you're not catching on to is it says more about you than it does about them, right? So just take whatever you can use. Today is all about, if you really want it and you want it bad enough, I know you can achieve it, and I know that you're willing to put the effort in to do it. And people are more willing to give you help if they see you are 110% invested in it than if you're just, 50%. So on that note, you guys have a great Tuesday. We'll see you here bright and early tomorrow morning for another topic. Again, thanks so much for watching, guys.